Hello and welcome to another episode of Layback with Betfair. I'm Tom Haylock with Luke White. We've got All-Age Stakes Day at Randwick. Plenty happening as I welcome in Whitey. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Tom. I'm good.
Good, yeah?
Yeah, I'm good. Last week was a little tricky, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
We did all right.
The Sydney track. How did we go?
Yeah, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at how we went last week with our lay of the day.
My best lay is Stockman, which I argued the lay side of in the Sydney Cup. I just think $4.80 is just incredibly short for me. I thought it'd be $10. I think there's way too many knocks to be anywhere near that price.
I'm with you in the Sydney Cup, mate. We're laying the same horse, Stockman. I can't believe this horse is favourite. Favourites don't win this race. Alicia Collette, barrier 13, 2,400 to 3,200, heavy track, can't have.
Yeah, punters did cop a bit of a bottomless, tricky track, I thought, at Randwick. There were some good horses beaten by quite some margins that we may need to forgive. As we just recapped, our best lay, Stockman, nowhere near it, didn't place, mate, so that was pretty good.
13 in a row between us, lay of the days. We're doing well. We're going for 15 this week. The pressure's on.
Yeah, no, I'm a little bit scared because this week looks a little tricky. Looks a little trappy this week. Having a look back, though, we did have a couple of best bets as well, and they didn't go down too well. They were about as popular as the kid named Zayden at school with a curried egg sandwich, I thought, mate. Honey Creeper, I'll never forgive you for wanting to back, and I've managed to get Colette retired. So
yeah, you're having a crack at me. Honey Creeper was an enormous run. Let's be fair. It was a big run. It was 45 lengths off them around the home turn. Couldn't win the way the track was playing, and you potted me, and Colette's come out and retired during the week after she...
Yeah, so I had a fair excuse. What was your excuse? I'm not sure.
The ride, I reckon. I might lay the ride. Put it in the lay bid.
We also saw Ride of the Century on Think It Over by Nash. I'm sure you liked that.
Did you have to bring that up?
I'll touch on that in the washing. But this week, Easter weekend, so we're going to have a quick look at a $500,000 race at Sale. Then a few at Caulfield, all up into some features at Randwick, where hopefully they'll finally see some sun this week. So grab your chocolate Easter bunnies, put the out of office on.
It might melt the eggs in Sydney for the first time. Yeah, let's get stuck into it. I can't believe you brought up Think It Over. We'll touch on that. But Zaki was a great result for me, and he's come down the bloody driving the lane where the ambulance goes on the good four down the outside, and he's pipped me. It was gross.
The part that the chopper didn't touch, mate.
It was absolutely gross, but well done to Nash. Any lays? Anything to go on the lay bin this week before we kick off?
I think you've got a couple of things.
I can start off if you want.
Yeah,
I just got one. I was going to lay horses coming down the tracks of the ambulance. I can lay that. But main one and a contentious issue during the week, everyone was whinging about the start times, particularly in Sydney in the feature races over the Carnival. They've been incredibly poor, not sticking to schedule. They haven't even left the mounting yard in 4-horse races before the time of the race was meant to jump. It's been a bugbear of mine for a little while. We know why they do it. People ask why they do it. It's for turnover, because so much turnover happens in the last couple of minutes. So everyone's running to get their bets on late. That's why they do it. It probably helps turnover, but you've got to stick to your schedule, don't you, Whitey?
You do. I know how you feel. Being a Tassie boy, do a lot of Tassie stuff with some mates, and I think Launceston may be well below par.
Why is that?
In terms of jumping on time,
That's not a deliberate ploy.
No, I'm really not sure. But the problem is, like when you're a smaller race meet like that, and you get split screen Sky 2, you've done the complete opposite of increasing
very
turnover.
true.
I've got something else to put in the lay bin.
Yeah, come on.
On Sunday, on the weekend, it was a bit warm here in Melbourne, and I went for a drive down in the Pean, like down Beach Road, down the beaches, and I saw 2 fully grown men in 3/4 board shorts.
So you're putting the men in the lay bin?
How are 3/4 board shorts still a thing?
Apologies to any of our viewers and listeners that wear 3/4 board shorts, but
like the full Quicksilver 3/4 job down to nearly your ankles. How are you swimming in those bad boys?
I want to know what you're wearing. Like you go on the...
No, well, I'm just saying that they don't exist anymore.
Right,
They've got to retire, so they're in the lay bin.
You're wearing the bloody tight, short shorts, are you?
The budgies?
You're in the budgies, are you? Jesus, no one needs to see you in the budgies. All right, let's get stuck into it. We're starting with Good Friday race day at Sale. We've got the Country Discovery $500 $1,000 race to kick off proceedings. Whitey, it's going to be a good track, fine weather. Can't wait to get stuck into it. And you can kick off first. The favourite is Showmanship, $4.80, pretty open race. About $5.50 on Betfair, and you can lay Showmanship about that $6 mark. But you're keen to back Showmanship.
Yeah, well, keen to back and being on the back side of the argument's a little bit different. I mean,
you're already on the fence.
I can see why this will be popular because it's a gelding going for 6 on the trot. Draws to get a great in-play run. I think D-Lane on board, 54 kilos. This is the first time Pike hasn't rode him on race day, which is interesting. He comes back off a tendon when he was going into the Rupert Clark as favourite last season. So the jump outs, though, were sensational. In one of them, he gave Lombardo Winburn, who he's pretty much joint favourite with here.
Gee, that was a good piece of work.
Yeah. So he's come back in good order by the looks. In one of those jump outs out Colac, it was a bit of a wet track, I thought. Maybe the horse will be better with a bit of sting out, but remains to be seen.
Doesn't sound like you're overly confident.
Obviously a talented animal. I can't dive into the price right now, the $4.80 price. Should it get to $6, $7 on Betfair, though, I think the backers are getting more than a fair price on it. But on such a long layoff, I think it's one that you follow and over further. It'll be there, but super interested to see what the market does late.
Yeah, well, you're not overly confident there. It's a hot race, plenty of speed on. Saver 2XL, you got Snapper, Lombardo, Serious Suspect, and In the Boat all look to roll forward. There's a lot of pressure on the race. That'll probably suit Showmanship, but where does he get to from the barrier, mate? He's drawn barrier 2, can be worse than midfield 3, even 4 back the fence potentially. For a horse that needs 1,200 at least to 1,400 metres, that's got to be a huge query for me. I reckon you'll get a better price in the run. He just maps a little tricky. His trials were outstanding, don't get me wrong. But the huge query for me is that 1,100 metres first up. What's he got planned? Is he heading to Brisbane? Is he heading to a race like the Goodwood, something like that? This is clearly the toughest test to date. He's up against a genuine Group 2 field. It's a good field. I can see the Inferno running really well down the outside. Brooklyn Hustle probably gets backed every run on the exchange, mate. Yep. They might come for her again late. She'll just probably get the back of the Inferno down the straight. And if there's a high-pressure race, I can see one of those two running well. You make a good point about the trial. That was a great trial. You couldn't back Lombardo confidently on the back of that up against Showmanship. Lombardo was gasping for air, whereas Showmanship really savaged the line in that trial. It
was hard. I was half typing Lombardo into my lay of the day and then deleted it. I'm just a little bit worried that over 1,100 it could be very sharp and it might be there late, but I think it's a very open race and it's at Sale and we've got these horses that are back markers. I need to see what's going on. But yeah, very tricky race, very open race.
Great race.
But also a great race with a lot of money.
Can't wait. Maybe controversial for some, but good to have racing on Good Friday, something to do. Let's get to Caulfield, mate. We'll touch on 3 races at Caulfield on what is a good day of racing. I'll be on track. You will be there too, I believe. Slightly different to me, but
yep.
You'll be there. You can signing autographs. Good 4 at Caulfield, railing the 3-metre position, 25 degrees. Beautiful weather in Melbourne. There's no surprise there. Whitey, first favourite is Jump the Broom, $3.60 on Betfair, $3.90 to lay. She's a nice mare. She's a class mare. I'm with her here. What more can she do, Whitey? She's won 4 from 4. She's been super impressive in all starts. She's won at Geelong, Moonee Valley, Canterbury, Mornington on soft, heavy, good. She's done it all. She's a mare in form. She strips fitter. She's a line chaser. I love the way she pins her ears back, puts her head down and finds a line, charges late. You'll tell me what the query is. The distance will probably be the big one for you. Even Jai could get this horse home last start as well, mate. So he's ridden it to a victory. I can't see why she's not favourite, and I'm happy to be with her here.
Yeah, fair enough. It was 4 months off when it was first up at Mornington, won well. Benchmark 78. It was a tricky in-play run, I thought. She didn't get to really stamp her best there, but was still very good late to beat Typhoon Harmony. You would expect natural improvement off that run, but you would want to take an opening quote of $3.20. I expect we'll be getting better on the fair later on. up in class against some horses here with some pretty good data on the board. I know you want to.
Are they going any good though?
Mention dangers, but I'm like, well, One Diva, Forever Free, Capriccio, Bless Her's Dual Nommed, all more than capable animals. She looks a very exciting animal though for connections. Barrier 9, 58 kilos, back in trip and Mornington form. They're all a few queries for me, mate. So I'm not keen on that opening quote. I expect you to get better when you dive into it, Tom.
Do not mention Mornington form because Chassis's coming off a Mornington run. You've got Forever Free off a Mornington run. Most of the form is Mornington, mate, so you can't pot her on Mornington form. But anyway, we move on.
We'll see if you pot it now.
We should have put Sandown in the lay bin too, the Sandown form.
I told you no good.
Because neither of those won last week off the Sandown form.
All your data did us nothing because you didn't look at the Sandown.
All right, the Easter Cup, the 2,000 metre race, mates, and I'll kick off proceedings again. Pondus is the favourite coming off that, was it Mornington run, wasn't it? He is favourite at $3.50, $4.20 on Betfair and $4.50 to lay. Whitey, I'm laying Pondus, that is right, and for good reason, mate. Now, you were with him last start. I laid him last start as well. He did the right thing by me coming second in the Mornington Cup. Now, I made the case, and I made some very good case, if you don't mind, about why he couldn't win.
Yes.
Now, just add that $2.10 favourite to the list of how he's been beaten out, the odds he's been beaten at. I'll repeat it for those who weren't listening a couple of weeks ago. $5, $4.50, $6, $2.75, $3.50, $2.10, $3.80, $1.95, $5, $2.40, $5.50, $2.20, and now $2.10, and you want to back this horse.
Yeah.
Give me a spell. The stable are going awful. I said at the time, you'd think they'd go better, but no, since I said that the Mornington Cup day, they're going worse.
Yeah, you've mocked them.
87 runners last 6 months, 6 winners, negative 70% profit on turnover. Stable going no good. Beaten by Crystal Pegasus last start. I'm still waiting for Crystal Pegasus to finish the Sydney Cup, if you don't mind. The race he won 2 starts ago hasn't produced a winner. So, and you're telling me you're backing this horse. Good luck.
No, see, you made me back at last start, and I was keen. I was
you were
keen.
Last start. Don't say I made
my
you
best
back.
bet of the day.
Stinking bet.
And I had to create the back argument. You think you'd do that this time and let me have a go at the lay, but no, selfish again. The Mornington Cup, mate, was a boat race, right, with Crystal Pegasus. And Crystal Pegasus got the more economical run. I queried Pondus's tactics there, what he was doing.
Yes.
He thought the horse was just going to be fitter than the rest of them.
Well, Michael D stays on. I'm sorry to...
Yeah, but he'll learn from that.
Oh, you'd hope so.
Pegasus ran over him late. He was only beaten a length over 2,400, right? 2 starts back at 2,000 metres in the Regal Power. He was absolutely brilliant. He SP'd at $8 in that race and literally gave them windburn. The positives here for me are the step back to 2,000. He'll have residual fitness in the legs to make it a genuine run race. Mick D. Sticks knows the horse well. Yeah, it wasn't a very good ride, I thought, in the Mornington Cup, but he gave the horse every chance in the end. It was just beaten.
He's not going great, Mickey D.
It feels like it's been a tricky horse to figure out for the camp. Obviously, I'm not training the horse, but he was $2.20 in a Moonee Valley Cup, and then he went on to run in the Melbourne Cup. So maybe this type of race is more his go, more his grade. And if you look back at it, he actually gets plenty of ticks in this race. So I can see a back argument. In terms of horses that I thought were knockouts, I thought Zaydani for me is the big watch here. Huge last start. I think the Hayes camp will send this to Queensland and it'll be one to follow in the carnival.
Yep, did enough late last start.
Yeah, so I think Zaydani will be the one flashing. Pondus for the backers though, $4.50, $5 on Betfair. I think he might be a popular bet.
Don't worry about looking at other horses to beat him. Just lay him, mate. Plenty against him. Victoria Handicap, Group 3 on Saturday at Caulfield, 1,400 metre race. The favourite is Ayrton. What a fascinating horse this is. $2.60 here, the average odds at the corporates, $3.10 on Betfair. You can lay this horse at $3.40. You can make the case first here, mate.
I think it's become an even more interesting case after the camp came out yesterday publicly and said that they don't expect him to win.
You've stitched me up here, and I want to put Mick Kent Jr. in the lay bin on the back of that comment because I'm meant to be making an argument about why this horse can win, and he's come out and said you'd be shocked if it wins. Now, how am I meant to make a confident argument about this horse winning when the stable don't think it can? I messaged him last night. I'm still waiting for a reply, I tell you. So go for it. Whitey, why are you laying this horse?
I just think like when you come out and say that, don't expect him to win. It's just a big, it's a dot.
When it's $2.60.
On form and data though, he certainly looks the one to beat. After not seeing him though for a couple of hundred days, we have seen one jump out.
Yep,
it was okay. I'm not sure what the opposition were there though. Don't know much about those horses to be honest. The price looks rock bottom with so many queries here. However, in 6 of its last 7 starts, it has SP odds on, so it's probably to be expected. I'm not sure about barrier 2. He could be 3 to 4 pairs back the fence, and I would be worried about taking a price after listening to the camp as well that he might just be working over through a nice piece of work. He's first up over 1,400. I don't think after such a long layoff of a horse that showed talent that they will be pushing him to definitely win. I'm sure they'll be more than stoked if he just flies through the line for a third. I find it real hard to find at that opening quote at $2.60, but I can see why it's favourite. If it gets out to $3.50, $3.60 on Betfair around that lay price now, people probably will back it. But interesting after what's been said to see what the market does. The other interesting runner in the race, Arameo, if it goes there. Looks like they might be hunting a better track.
That's why they're in Victoria, mate.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one for me. But in short, $2.60 is no value for me, Tom.
What price does this horse drift to? It's got to drift on the back of those comments from the stable during the week. Yep. It'll continue to drift. You can lay it at $3.40 at the moment. I think it starts closer to $4s.
You're probably right.
But he's a class horse. He's won races for fun. He's run times. His data's good. He's beating good horses and beating them easily. He's 3 from 3 first up. I think he maps actually perfectly. His barrier trial his jump out at Cranbourne was actually really good. He saw the horse duck up on the inside and he found again. He cruised around under less pressure than his rivals. I heard Mick Kent Jr.'s comments and expected to watch that trial and see him go backwards or need the run, but he fought on. It was a really nice piece of work. So I don't know if Mick Kent Jr. is playing funny buggers there. And it was a 1,200 metre trial, so you'd think he'd be ready to go 1,400 metres. He looks stylish. I think he'll drift, but I think he'll be pretty hard to beat. There's not, it is a winnable race for him. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a fascinating one. You said he was scared by Profiteer. What did you mean by that? And you sent the text to me
because
you read those comments.
You sent the text saying the screenshot saying how Mick Kent and Price came out and said they don't expect him to win.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, now they have to do the opposite of Profiteer, where they were like,
bullish,
we'll win,
right.
and very, very bullish. So same colours. It's very scary, mate.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's recovering from a potential spider bite. I think he lost a lot of weight, Ayrton. So
very interesting.
Hopefully, he's all right. Let's get up to the weekly wash up, Whitey. The Hurricanes wash up. No exciting headings this week, but what have you got for me?
Not really. Yeah, I tried, but I've gone the Firm 4. It's a bit of a play on, like a Good 4 track and the Fantastic 4, the movie.
Not great.
The average max...
Is that what you've got for... You've spent a week coming up with this and that's what you've got for us?
Mate, my last 48 hours has been a little bit of a, real hurricane type stuff going on.
Been down the beach wearing your budgie smugglers.
The average max pre-play price of all winners at Randwick was $23.
Wow. Yep.
There were 4 in particular, though, that firmed in the last 3 minutes, even though they were outsiders. Nimmerley firmed 26% in that time period.
Impressive.
Kinloch firmed 18%.
Impressive.
Knight's Order 9%. And Villana 14%. Why highlight that? Well, the exchange is the light that leads everyone to their final destination, as we know. A horse,
you okay, mate?
A horse firm. Well, I'm actually not. A horse firming 15 to 20% in the last 3 minutes on Betfair is a very good sign if you've backed it.
Yep.
And quite a scary sign if you've laid it.
So where can they get that data from? Betfair Live? Is that probably the best place to
Betfair
find?
Live on the day. Get Betfair Live up during
the markets late.
Yeah,
for
during
that kind of intel.
I always tell people, regardless of whether you're betting on Betfair or not, you should be, but you have Betfair Live up I think it's great. You see the weight of money, volume of money. It's something that will help educate you.
Yep.
So I highly recommend it. Betfair.com.au/BetfairLive. In play Boomers.
Yes.
2 horses at Randwick, 1 that weren't popular pre-play, but certainly were in play. There was 48% more matched volume in play on El Patroness and Think It Over than there was pre-play.
Yep.
It doesn't happen a lot. Now, there can be a number of reasons for this, including people backing at huge odds and leaving lay traps in.
Yep.
Like if you've backed a horse like, El Patroness at huge odds and, you want to lay 1,000 at $1.05 for a small liability in case she gets beaten in a photo, that's a very popular in-play prop that people do. Or you may have laid it at huge odds and now you've got to minimise your damage in play. But worth mentioning because they were the only 2 horses. Think It Over and El Patroness had nearly 50% more money in play than pre-play.
So obviously they're big odds and they're in the finish. So you'd expect not to have a huge amount of turnover pre-play being big odd horses. And then in play when they look like they're fighting out the finish or getting close, everyone's keen to jump on or lay, especially with Think It Over when it's down the outside. And I think that's your next point here.
Well, yeah, so the next headline, it's plain, it's simple, it's right of the century.
Jeez. I hope I never see that ride ever again.
This gets its own little highlight piece. Nash on Think It Over. Take a bow, son. Max pre-play, this was interesting. Max pre-play was $60 matched. It firmed quite a bit after that, but then in the last 3 minutes, headless, drifted 25%. So unwanted, and that's because I think we all thought it was a dry tracker.
Yep.
And it was a good 4 apparently, or a good 3 on the outside.
It was a good 3 down the tyre track.
Yeah.
Don't get me started again.
BSP just under that $60 again, and then the max in-play price was also $60. So it has stayed at $60 for the whole shebang.
Amazing.
Max Pre, SP, in-play, $60. Nash on Think It Over. Take a bow.
There you go. Well, let's head to Randwick. The All-Age Stakes Day. What a day it is. Probably the unofficial, or it is the end of the carnival, I dare say. All-Age Stakes Day before we head off to some provincial tracks. But we're at Randwick. Rail 8 metres between the 1,600 and the winning post and 5 metres throughout for the remainder. We'll probably be on a soft 7. It's a heavy 9 as we go to air on the Thursday, Whitey. But I think we'll be doing the form on a... we have done the form for a soft 7. It's going to be a really tricky track because it is drying, and I think it'll be a bit gluey, which is a Randwick track that's drying but had a lot of rain on it. Obviously, it'll be soft underneath, but it might be a bit sticky. So some horses might not get through it. The first favourite we look at, and it's a day of short price favourites, especially to kick off our preview. We're doing races 3 to 8. The Frank Packer Plate, 2,000 metres. The favourite here is Straight Aaron at $1.85 on the corporates. $2.20 Betfair. You're getting a good price there, and you can lay Straight Aaron at $2.32. You're backing Straight Aaron. I want to hear your case first. I know you've got me down to
that's fine.
Lay
yeah,
first, but I want to hear your case before I can rebut here.
Trying to keep a good flow. Like I do the wash up, it makes me a little bit more famous than you, and I'm worried about how that affects your ego. I'm glad you mentioned though that Straight.
No one's famous here, mate.
There's lots. Yeah, no, they're really not. Straight Aaron is one of the short price favourites because we have literally going to have to argue now 4 or 5 odds on pops, short odds on pops. The bookies are either going to fill or strip, I think.
Yep.
This is one of the many short price favourites. Horse looks like it could be a star, this Straight Aaron.
Oh, you've started, yep.
Yeah, it was way too good in the carbine on a heavy 9. J-Max sticks again for the ride here. The step up to 2,000 when I was looking into it, I queried it a little bit. But you could put a question on it, but it's ran the fastest last 400 of the day over the mile on the heavy. Yep. So I don't think it presents too much of a problem. The wide barrier is actually perfect for his running style, and he's absolutely the one to beat. And obviously it is priced accordingly. His debut run was when he knocked off an odds on The Economist at Sandown form, who then came back out and won at odds on again. So I expect it to be supported. I don't think I think the main knock for me, which you'll probably come back to, is the opposition being hard fit staying types, maybe. So, horses like Maurice Medad and Inverell.
Don't make my argument for me.
And stuff like that.
Yep.
No, I think they will make it more of a truer staying test than what he's come up against so far. So the exchange late, though, if we're getting out to $2.50, sorry,
$50.
Not $250, I think he's a very popular bet and he'll go very close.
Yep. No, I think the 220 is probably acceptable at the moment. I'm fascinated to see what the market does. As you said, it's all about the horses coming off the ATC Derby and what they do. You've got Josh Parr on Maurice's Medad. You've got Tim Clark on War Eternal. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Parr rolls forward on Maurice's Medad, makes this a true staying test. And if the track plays like it has in the last couple of weeks, Whitey, wouldn't be surprised if Straight Aaron's back and deep.
Yep.
And he might be in a honeycreeper position where he needs a lot, needs to make a lot of ground to get over the top of them, especially those horses coming off the 2400 ATC Derby, that they'll be rock hard fit, the Raging Bull, War Eternal, Maurice's Medad. That's my query, just how the races run, whether they go hell for leather. They got 2 leaders on the 2 horses that are rock hard fit, 2 leading jockeys in Clark and Parr, who ride leaders better than anyone in Australia probably. Linda Meach, worthy notable mention there, but they ride leaders very well. I wouldn't be surprised if they roll forward, make an acid test, and Straight Aaron might not be able to pick him up late. That's my main query. As you said, he was the only horse to break 23 seconds on the day last start, Straight Aaron, over 400. Brilliant run. But, just my little query for me, 220 about the right price for him. Let's get to Fireburn. Whitey, good luck laying this horse.
Yeah, wow. I do see, though, average fixed odds $1.40 opening, $1.60 to back, $1.66 to lay on Betfair. Whew. I'm interested to see what price we think she'll get to here, because I think if she drifts any more out past $1.70 towards $1.80, anywhere near there, she'll be probably the most bet horse on the day. You wouldn't think so, but a small field here, which makes a lay case against this filly much harder because there's not much opposition. She's a 2-year-old that's won 5 or 6 starts and earned nearly $4 million. So absolute star and a great story as well. So I hope she really comes back next season as well. She's beaten all this competition here previously, so there aren't a heap of knocks. But if there were some question marks, is the step up to a mile a question mark?
Nope.
It's not?
Yeah.
It might be just a small one. But keeping in mind this is a 2-year-old filly up to her 5th run this prep on genuine heavy tracks. She's won her grand final as well, and she's run her PBs, so she has to keep going on the upward spiral. I think only bad luck or an off day, Tom, to be honest, beats her, mate. Step up in distance and a little bit better conditions may allow the others to get a little bit closer this time around. But I hope we see a little bit of showmanship again if you're out in front by a few.
I'd love Brenton to...
Yeah, go for it again, Brenton. We'll pay your fine. Tom will pay your fine.
Well...
What do you got for me?
Fireburn.
Be a hero and tip her running to $1.40 favourite, mate.
Group 1 Sheepade Stakes. She's looking to do the Triple Crown. Only one filly before her has done the Triple Crown, winning the Slipper, the ATC Size and the Champagne Stakes. She's looking to emulate Baguette, Luskin Star, TSA, Burst, Dance Hero, Piero. Some pretty good horses to do the Triple Crown, but she's a star. She's proven herself the best 2-year-old in the country. I think you made a fair point. She's had a long preparation running on heavy tracks. I think that's the only query, whether she puts in a flat run. And she doesn't do a lot of work during the week. Gary Portelli's he spoke to us on Betfair Edge last week. He was so bullish a couple of weeks ago before that Size produce, but she doesn't do much at home. So whether he would be able to tell if she's having a flat one or not, or about to put in a flat one, that's hard to say. But that's her only query. She's beaten She's Extreme before. She's put a gap on her rivals. It's hard to see She's Extreme. Let's roll the dice, roll her. Williamsburg might be the horse that can come from left field, but on the backup fit. But, hard to knock. She will be winning the Triple Crown. She's a star. All right, race 5. Another short price favourite here, mates. And that is Espiona.
Yes.
You can go first here. You're with her.
Sure. So average odds open as we speak in the current field, $1.65, $1.90 Betfair, $2.10-ish to lay at the moment. So the market hasn't formed too much. I draw the backside here for what it's a class horse of the field, though. But this is where she finally has to stamp her class on them. She's $1.65. She's SP'd short in her last few starts and has either been unlucky or has done a few things wrong. She's laid in coming into the straight a couple of times as well. But there's no hinged or fangirl here, though. J.B. McDonald just needs to take luck out of the question. That's the thing, isn't it? Take luck out of the question here. Make sure you've got galloping room as you head to the turn. And she should just be too good on class alone. Should things go absolutely pear-shaped, I thought a couple of things out in the market, Comrade Rose and Party for One, might be two to watch in play as ones that might scream at her late. She's the class horse of the field. She should win. Around even money is probably going to be a very popular bet. This is the last chance at these sort of odds.
Almost D-Day for it. You've made a pathetic case to back her there.
I'm sorry. I'll just say, $1.90 to $2.10. If we get even money Espiona, that'd be very well backed.
Potentially. Yep. You're on the back case, and I wasn't overly impressed with your argument. Now,
no, I wasn't real strong, was I?
No, you need to work on that.
I don't like tipping people into odds on favourites, mate.
Yeah, righto.
I will next race.
Horses, I'm laying Espiona at the price. I mean, $1.92. If I'm happy to lay her at $1.95 or whatever, I'll do so.
Will you lay at $2.14, which is the current?
I think that's about right.
Okay.
I wouldn't go crazy at the $2.14, but I wouldn't be surprised if that firms up a little bit. Horses she beat home last start. Capistel, since got lapped in a putrid Group 3, probably a benchmark 60 Group 3, that was. Polly Gray had issues. Yes, baby, yes, who couldn't go a yard in the heavy, couldn't win at Launceston in the start before that, and a Tissue who didn't even finish the race. So effectively, she's beaten 3 runners home at her last start.
Yeah.
She finished 8th there, so that's pretty poor form to be frank, in my opinion. I know it was a Group 1 form, but pretty average. She's been beaten favourite $1.55, $1.60 or $1.65, $2.60 and $3.10 this campaign. She's making a habit of getting beaten at short odds. She's drawn barrier 2. Where does she get to from that barrier, Whitey? She could be back. She could need luck. As you said, James McDonald will probably need to take luck out of the equation. With the rail out as it is, where does she get to? That's my little query. And Comrade Rosa, you mentioned her. Ran the second fastest final 800 metres of the day last start. Was good late. Looks as if the 1400 metres will suit. I can't get Espiona down like anywhere near the $1.65 at the corporates at the moment. I'll leave that alone. $1.92 I probably wouldn't touch. $2 is about her price for me.
The corporates need to grow up a little bit and put it up at even money.
Yeah. Make a stand. But that would affect their market percentages, mate. They can't do that.
Oh, what are they?
A lesson for another day. Race 6, the Tab Hallmark Stakes, 1,200 metres. We have a favourite here in Big Parades, and I am backing him. Whitey?
All right, yeah.
And for good reason.
Okay.
I'm still getting over him getting nutted on the line last start or up in Sydney on Slipper Day, and I can't believe Shelby knocked him off there. Had an absolute peach run, Shelby. This horse had to cart Shelby into the race. He did everything. He was first up there. It was a brilliant run. He just wins here, and I'm very confident. There's no speed whatsoever in the race. He gets complete control. He rolls forward. We've seen In the Congo run well since from that race. Belushi Babes run well since from that race. The form's very hard to fault. He strips fitter, gets map favours. The wetter the better. That's my query. All his rivals here are probably better on top of the ground. So the wetter the better for him. A sticky track, big parade, goes to the front. They won't see which way they went. Josh Parr, as I said, is the best leading jockey on the program, and he'll be winning.
Yeah. Another short price one. Say it again. And trying to find a lay bet, very hard to knock. As you said, when I did it, gets every single favour of the shorter price ones. And, $2 even lay on Betfair, even money. I'm very, very happy with that. I know I have to lay him, but grows an extra leg on the wet. So see what the track does. But leads on his ear. No pressure. He brings A-grade form for this type of race. The only knock would be is if the track was to miraculously dry out.
Yep. It is a soft 7 potentially. So
yeah. I just think there'll be, like you said, sticky underneath. There's still been a lot. I'd expect horses like Count de Rupee for Toos and Rohirrim to possibly running into it late and improve here off their previous runs. It has to get to a like even money mark, and it's probably one of the better bets of the day. I can't comfortably make a lay case against it. It probably will be my best bet of the day, I think, especially around the even money mark with all the favours.
There you go. You're meant to be laying it. Thank you for... You've been pathetic today, mate.
Splinters.
I'll give you one. Kementari's best figures are first up.
Yes.
And National Willawonga Godolphin horses, the last 6 months. He's had 14 runs. This is up to $12 SP. He's had 14 runs, 6 wins at plus 83% profit on turnover. So when he rides for Godolphin in the market, he proves very, very hard to beat. So there's a little stat
hopefully
for
they
you.
back the hell out of it and we get a better price and big parade. But I think, I got a little PTSD, mate, after Honey Creeper and Colette last week. So, yeah, I'll let you go after that.
You need a lift, mate. I know you've had a tough week down the beach and you're looking at...
Oh, mate.
All right, the JRA plate, race 7, Group 3, 2,000 metres. Ice Bath is the favourite. Whitey, you're with her. $4.80 on Betfair. You can lay her at $5, and you are keen to be with her.
Yeah, I'm on the backside. We finally get a bit of meat on the bone price-wise here for a runner in Sydney. This is a mare quite easy to make a case for. She ran very well in a Group 1 Doncaster and Queen of the Turf, where she was probably in the inferior ground on the day, had to weave through. In saying that has become a little bit of her style. She's on the quick backup here. McAvoy sticks for the ride. When looking at the opposition in the market, you've got Polly Gray, who's a very consistent Randwick wet tracker. Maximal's very interesting that J-Mac is on this horse. It was travelling in the Oz Cup and something went amiss. So Huey sat up and eased it out of it. It's in the market and J-Mac's on. It's quite interesting. See what happens with the market.
That's why he's
there.
in the market, because J-Mac's on. Yep.
Ice Bath has her first crack at 2,000 metres here, which is interesting because the horse has won over $4 million in prize money. She doesn't win very often. But the way I see the race, Harmony Rose will set the tempo up front. Polly Gray should have to push up from out wide and just tow him into it. Ice Bath can stalk, gets the chance late to run over the top of them. Just needs to handle the 2,000 metres and she's absolutely in it up to her eyeballs. I think $5 is more than fair.
Another weak case. She clearly ran the fastest 400 metres of the race last start. She ran the fastest 1,200 metres on the day. So you'd think she's on the backup. If they're going to try 2,000 metres for her, now's the time. But that said, I'm against her here. I've got Polly Gray slightly ahead of her. She'll want the rain to keep falling, Polly Gray. She's a dead set wet tracker, but so does Ice Bath.
Exactly.
They're both swimmers. Polly Gray's proven at 2,000 metres. You've got a drying track potentially, might not favour Ice Bath either. Not only does she rise above 1,600 metres for the first time, Whitey, so she's up 400 metres from what she's ever tried before, but she's never carried more than 57 kilos in a race. So now she's back against the guys carrying 59 kilos.
Yep.
That's got to be a huge query for me. I'm with Polly Gray ahead of her just for that reason alone. It's a tough challenge, rising 400 metres to what you've seen in, 31 career starts.
Yeah.
We saw the same situation last week with Stockman, rising, had 29 starts and never tried beyond 2,400. Now they're trying at start 32. So, yep.
I think she just deserves one.
She deserves a win. Yeah, that's not fair enough reason for me to put my money on her, though.
Well, you go broke backing those type of horses, Tom, in all seriousness.
She's won 2 from 18 at Randwick too.
Yeah.
I mean, she's run some brilliant races. She ran 3rd at Doncaster and 3rd in a Queen of the Turf. But
that just might be her.
The weight is the big one for me. She's rising 2 kilos to anything she's had before against the guys up to 2,000 metres. So Polly Gray on top for me there. Now the Group 1, the big one. Save the best to last. Do you want to go first here, Whitey, or do you want me to go first? Mo'Unga's favourite, $6 favourite, if you don't mind.
$6,
you can lay it $6.80 on Betfair at the moment. The Group 1 all-age stakes, 1,400 metres.
We're arguing because it's opened average fixed at $4.60. There's a few in the market. Obviously, it's Thursday at the moment. This could probably change. How's this for a stat?
Oh, you finally come to the party.
How is this? In the last 17 editions of this race, Barrier 7 has won 8 times.
Amazing.
8
good stat.
Times.
Well
that
done.
is astute form analysis.
So you're backing Ellsberg, are you?
No. But that is pretty crazy.
But I've got a stat for you.
Don't bore us, mate.
No, here's this. Overpass and Shelby 66 first two emergencies. If they scratch, where does Mo'Unga jump from? Barrier 7.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
But you're laying.
No. Drawing the lay side, Mo'Unga, I'm a sucker for this horse. She gets me every time. Will I lay her literally? Like,
lay
will
him,
I actually hit... Oh, sorry, yeah, him.
I don't know why it says she on the run sheet.
Yeah, will I actually hit the pink button? No. Because I think the price will be too big and too much of a risk. Like 6,680. Like if I have to lay, I can't lay Mo'Unga at $7. Like no way. I can definitely find arguments as to why layers or bookies might take it on though. You nearly have to go back 12 months to find a W on the form guide.
Yep.
Looking back through the past performances and figures, I personally think now as a 4-year-old, it's going to be better suited and more effective over a mile plus. That is the main query of this race. Tommy Berry hasn't rode a winner for the carnival yet.
Amazing stat that.
Yeah.
I hope I got that right. Well, he's ridden a few seconds or thirds.
Yeah, he's ran some good races, but just hasn't had a winner. You could say it's become a horse with a run style that requires luck. You look back through the runs, always unlucky ones, clips heels, has to come round and pushes wide, gets caught up, all that sort of stuff. The only problem is if I was laying it at $7, $687, which is where it is right now, I'd be very nervous in the last 200 metres. So it might be one to monitor in play. Will I physically lay it? No. I think it's in it up to its ears if it shows up, but I just think you'll see a flashing second or third with a much better run over a mile, Tom.
Well, I think it's a perfect setup for him over 1,400 metres. He's been primed for this perfectly. He's had a soft barrier trial, 5 weeks between the first up run and the barrier trial, 7 weeks into this. He might be better over further. He might be better over 1,600 metres now, but first up 1,400 metres, he's very effective. He's won 3 from 5 first up, which is effectively is. He's 7 weeks between runs. He's a very good fresh horse. Berry, I just checked, rode the Tulloch Stakes, but that was at Newcastle, so nothing in the championships so far. I didn't mind his barrier trial, soft piece of work. Now, he's an easy horse to like. He's drawn barrier 9. Tommy Berry's riding fantastically well. He's a class horse. We've seen him. He would have gone around in a Cox Plate. He would have gone, well, he went around at $5.50 in a Cox Plate, mate. That's class above a lot of these horses. I think he's a better horse than these. Obviously, he ties into a few like Sierra Sue, Tofane and all them. But his run last start on that on-pace day at Caulfield was fantastic. I think he's clearly the best horse in the race, and I think he will be very, very hard to beat. Forbidden Love draws awkwardly. In the Congo, I've got a stat for you. Record of 3-year-olds in the last 12 months in open company against older horses in metropolitan Sydney and Melbourne. They've had 2 winners. Can you believe that? 60 attempts, 3-year-olds against older horses. 2 winners. Overpass Mr. Mozart at Newcastle was one of them.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Negative 70% profit on turnover. And there's good 3-year-olds trying to win against older horses.
Yep.
Animo, Converge, Generation, Barbrader twice. In the Congo is one of them. In the Galaxy, Halal, Hinged, Espiona, Remark are all horses that have tried.
Yep.
They're stars in their own right, in their own age group, but they haven't been able to get the job done. I think Mo'Unga's the horse to beat, and I'll be with him at $6. So I think that's a great price.
Yep.
All right, now time for your best bet and best lay of the day, Whitey.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Randwick Race 6, number 1. Big Parade is my best bet. We might line up here. I just thought we had to argue 4 or 5 odds on pops at Sydney. I think this is the one that gets the most favours, and I think at $2 even money, plus hopefully I'm more than happy for it to be the one that I back on the day. So Big Parade for me. The lay I found very hard. You're in the Congo one that you will mention here on the sheet. I can see exactly why you're laying it, but last week we laid the same horse, didn't we?
Yes.
And the week before? No,
just once.
So I just want to change it up.
We got that right. I'm still waiting for Stockman to finish, to be fair.
Caulfield Race 4, number 1, Cunning Fox, has opened at $4.50. I like 2 or 3 others in the race at a similar price, including James Cummings' horse at $4.50. So I will say now, haven't got the exchange prices up. I don't want to lay it on a huge drift to $6, $7, but at the opening quote, I'm happy to be against Cunning Fox. There
you go. I've got 2 best bets. Race 1, number 1, Czar. This horse...
Is it Caesar or Czar?
I was pronounced Czar in the call at Hawkesbury. Caesar. This horse beat Count the Headlights in a Rose Hill barrier trial on a wet track and was enormous. I was worried first up 1,000 metres, but it was a lovely debut run at Hawkesbury. As I said last week on the show, 2-year-olds that win within 21 days or whatever, it's been 2 weeks, win again. 1,200 metres suits this horse. No issue, Caulfield. He'll be very hard to beat. Race 1, number 1, Caulfield. I agree with you. Big Parade's probably the best of the shorties. For me, Randwick Race 6, number 1. And I am laying in the Congo for the reasons I said. Just a 3-year-old up against the older horses. Yep. Any on-speed bias worries me, but we should get a good idea come race 8.
Yep.
But I'm against him.
Monitor track patterns.
Now... Yeah,
you go.
I was going to say, of the 4 shorties between races 3, 4, 5 and 6, which is the vulnerable one at Randwick, mate?
For me, Espiona.
At the price?
Yep. Espiona at the price, like an opening price of $1.65 for me, for a horse that has been beaten and is unlucky, lays in, does a lot of things wrong. That, for me, is the biggest risk of the shorties.
I agree with you. At that price, $1.92, so... there you go. That's all we've got time for. Lay back with Betfair. Thanks for joining us. We're back to do it all again next week. Thanks to Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.